some of the cartoons that were made for about 3 decades by Warner Brothers are some of the greatest cartoons ever made. We love them all, or we love most of them. We all love them, I should say it that way. We'll start off by talking about how we kind of ended up with a sitcom format, which is what we finally came to, because we thought that was kind of the best way to treat these characters with the same sensibility that they had in the shorts and doing something fresh and different. So Hugh, do you want to kind of explain where we started and how we ended up turning it into a sitcom, which normally is a terrible, terrible word?
This terrible idea was mine. No, we first started, basically it was more like a variety show, and there were a lot of different shorts. We wrote a huge amount of material, and there was something about them that was very hit and miss, whether you were capturing the characters, especially Bugs and Daffy were sort of lost in that. And then just by virtue of working on it for a while, those characters started becoming funnier when they were in a more grounded setting. So, unlike the shorts, there was a persistent world. They live in you see the same house every episode, and there's a sort of soft history to it. Not everything has to count, but for the most part, things that happen in one episode happen. And characters may or may not mention it, but it happened. And that's a big departure. But it grounded the show in a way. And allowed us to get deeper with the characters, I think, than maybe we would have ever been able to do if we'd stayed with a variety show.
Spike, do you want to talk a little bit about just drawing these characters and the challenges of drawing Bugs and Daffy as opposed to most animated shows?
Well, on this show, we right from the get-go made a conscious decision to redesign the characters, especially for the show, and we felt that it would give us a little bit of distance from the original cartoons because we were departing from the shorts format. And would give the show its own identity, so that when you saw it, you'd know, oh, these are the new Looney Tunes cartoons. And one of the things that we also wanted to do with it, which is in some ways similar to the original cartoons, was instead of just being a strictly model-driven show, we wanted to really focus on individual scenes of specific character expressions, that everything was going to really be custom for the moment. So Daffy doesn't just have like a happy expression, an angry expression, a sad expression. He's got, many different kinds of mad expressions, or many different kinds of sad expressions.
We take the storyboards, because the storyboards are part of the storytelling process, and they kind of help tell the animators what to do. And on this show, the final stage of the storyboards, they're drawn really, really carefully. And the final stage of the storyboards that we ship overseas for production are exactly what we want the cartoon to look like. And the reason we did that, and it's so specific to this show, is we have characters that are pretty complex. We have, Daffy Duck, he might be saying something, but meaning something completely different. We have sarcastic characters where they don't even mean half the things they say, or they're lying, or they're... So to get that out, to kind of get that out in the character's acting requires like a level of finesse that's rare in television animation. And we really had to go through extreme lengths to help the studios. Most of the 2D stuff was animated in Korea at a couple of different studios. And those people, they're very talented group of animators. And we're lucky to work with them, but they kind of needed that level of communication to make this show work.
Tony, while you got the mic, you want to talk about the animatic process and why it's important we do animatics on this show as opposed to
I was saying, the storyboard, and I guess a lot of you people are familiar with what a storyboard is, but it's almost like a comic book version of the show. We take a script, and then a lot of different artists kind of work on like the first version of what that show might look like. And the animatic is we take those storyboards and film them, and then lay them against the track. So we have Jeff's performances, and now we have kind of this first pass of drawing. And an animatic helps us work out timing, and it helps us work out acting. And we work over and over and over again on the animatics. And on features, on animated feature films, they'll work on their story reels for years before they ever even get into animation. And
sometimes so do we.
Yeah, sometimes so do we. I mean, we for a television show, we take a lot of time, extra time, and put extra energy into making kind of things right.
Great. Rachel Ramis, our sole female up here.
Is that really true?
Probably no. Rachel, do you want to talk a little bit about writing for women? I mean, animation doesn't have a ton of women, and I think the reason that Tina and Lola are such strong characters is partly due to you. So, do you want to talk to us a little bit about the whole process?
Well, we were fortunate enough to have the brilliant Kristen Wiig voice our version of Lola, and Larry and I performed with Kristen at Brownlings, which is an improv sketch theater in Los Angeles. And so we were friends with Kristen, and so I think what helped is when Kristen signed on, we didn't really want her to do a big character. We just knew how to write to her quirks and cadences and the way we know Kristen to be funny. And so it's a fun, energetic, truly loony character, I think. And it's fun having female energy. It's fun seeing Bugs and all the different characters play off of her. And then the character of Tina, that was tough for her, because it was like who would date Daphne. But so she's very smart and she's tough, and I think for the same reason Bugs likes Daphne. It's similar for Tina, that she loves him in spite of or because of all of his quirks. But the show as a whole has, I think, a strong, in fact you were talking about it earlier, sort of that female energy, and that is relationship driven. Maybe that's what it feels like it on our end.
Those old shorts didn't have a lot of funny females. And it's great to have, I mean, no one wanted to have funny male characters and then to role model female characters and teach lessons. And they're smart. It's like, to be in the cast, they need to be funny.
I mean, so we didn't really have to think very hard about whether we were going to keep the Space Jam Lola or not. I worked on Space Jam, but basketball Lola was not going to work for this show. You needed a real character there, and not somebody who's just cute or tough, but funny and deep.